Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to discuss about the ulcer. There are two types of ulcers. One is a peptic ulcer and one is a duodenal ulcer. Peptic ulcer takes place in the stomach and duodenal ulcer in the duodenal first part of the small intestine. Duodenal ulcer is usually caused by infection with the germs bacteria called the Helicobacter pylori. H. pylori is a brief abbreviation. A 4 to 8 weeks course of the acid suppressing medication will allow the ulcer to heal. We give 4 antibiotics in this, and which is azithromycin, then ampicillin, and flagyl, one another antibiotic that I do not remember. In addition, a week course of 2 antibiotics plus one acid suppressing medicine like H2 blockers medicine will usually clear the H. pylori infection. This usually prevents the ulcer from in addition, this usually prevents the ulcer from coming back. Anti-inflammatory medication used to treat conditions such as arthritis, sometimes called the duodenal ulcer. If you need to continue with anti-inflammatory medicine, then you may need to take long-term acid suppressing medication. Actually, if you are taking anti-inflammatory, you know what is the action of anti-inflammatory mechanism of it. It causes suppression of the prostaglandin E2, and which is responsible for holding the mucous lining of the stomach. If you will continue anti-inflammatory, then ulcer will continue because there is a release of the from the parietal cell of the stomach, SCL, and SCL will damage the stomach lining or duodenal lining because of the release of parietal cells in the stomach. So you have to either reduce the dose of anti-inflammatory or you have to stop the anti-inflammatory if you have another problem like arthritis. Understanding your gut and digestion, food passes down the gullet or esophagus into the stomach. The stomach makes acid, which is not essential but helps to digest food. After being mixed in the stomach, food passes into the first pass of the small intestine, the duodenum. In the duodenum and the rest of the small intestine, food mixes with the chemical called the enzymes. The enzymes come from the pancreas, amylase and lipase, and from the cell lining, the intestine, that is, some more enzymes is released. Enzymes break down, digest the food which is taken up, absorbed into the body. Some terms are used over here which has to be explained, like peptic inflammation is inflammation caused by the stomach acid, that is HCl, released from the parietal cells of the stomach. Inflammation may be in the stomach, in the first part of the intestine, that is the duodenum, as acid flow in the with food or in the lower gullet or esophagus. If acid splashes up to reflex, we call it esophagitis, means the food is coming back towards your mouth. Then we have got a peptic ulcer, is an ulcer caused by the stomach acid. An ulcer occurred where the lining of the stomach is damaged and the underlying tissue is exposed. If you could see inside your stomach through the endoscopy, an ulcer looks like a small red crater on the inside lining of the gut. The duodenum is the most common site for the peptic ulcer. This deals with only with the duodenal ulcer. What causes the duodenal ulcer? Your stomach normally produces acid to help with the digestion of the food and kill the germs, bacteria. This acid is corrosive, so some cells on the inside lining of the stomach and the first part of the small intestine duodenum produce a natural mucus barrier. Means there is a release of the mucus which is alkaline in nature, which overcomes the food which is coming as a acidic with the acidic pH that will be neutralized in the intestine and converted into alkaline form. This product, the lining of the stomach and duodenum, there is normally a balance between the amount of acid that you make and the mucus defense barrier. What are the defense barrier? That is the mucus, which is what? hold on the stomach lining by the prostaglandin E2. An ulcer may develop if there is an alteration in this balance, allowing the acid to damage the lining of the stomach or the duodenum. Cause of this includes the following: infection with Helicobacter, for example, H. pylori. Infection with H. pylori is the cause in about 19 in 20 cases of the duodenal ulcer. More than a quarter of the people in the UK become infected with H. pylori at some time in this stage in their life. Once you are infected, unless treated, the infection usually stay for rest of your life. In many people, it causes no problem, and a number of these bacteria just live harmlessly in the lining of the stomach and duodenum. However, in some people, this bacterium, Helicobacterium, causes an inflammation in the lining of the stomach and duodenum. This causes the defense mucous barrier to be disrupted, and in some cases, the amount of the acid to be increased, which allow the acid to cause inflammation and ulcer. There is another cause. One is the Helicobacter. Second cause is anti-inflammatory medicine, including aspirin. Anti-inflammatory medicine are sometimes called non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, NSAIDs. There are various type and brand. For example, aspirin, ibuprofen, diclofenac, and Ponstan. Ponstan, for example, Ponstan is also mefenamic acid. This is also NSAID. So NSAIDs, the mechanism of NSAIDs as an anti-inflammatory, they remove the prostaglandin or suppress the prostaglandin. It will remove the mucous lining of the stomach, and that leads to the damage of the wall of stomach. Many people take an anti-inflammatory medicine for arthritis, muscular pain. For example, aspirin is also used by many people to protect against blood clot forming. Like Ascard, they are taking 75 milligram daily as a prevention aspirin, and if they have got fever or headache, they use about 300 milligram aspirin. That is a treatment, and 75 milligram per 50 milligram as a prevention. So those people are very prone to this uh, ulcer. However, these medicines sometimes affect the mucous barrier of the duodenum and allow acid to cause an ulcer. About 1 in 20 duodenal ulcers is caused by anti-inflammatory medicines. Other causes and factors, Other causes and factors are rare. For example, the Zollinger-Ellison syndrome, which is a release of the acid from the kidney, and that is a neurological problem, Zollinger-Ellison syndrome. In this rare condition, much more acids than usually is made by the stomach. Other factors such as smoking, stress, and drinking heavily may possibly increase the risk of having the duodenal ulcer. So this Zollinger-Ellison syndrome is related with the stomach, and there is excess release of the acid in the stomach. However, these are not usually the underlying cause of the duodenal ulcer. What are the symptoms of the duodenal ulcer? Pain is the upper tummy, abdomen, at the epigastric position near the xiphoid process of your sternum. Just below the breastbone, sternum is the common symptoms. It usually comes and goes. It may occur more before meal or when you are hungry. It may be easy if you eat food or take antacid tablets. The pain may wake up you from the sleep. Other symptoms which may occur includes bloating, racking, and feeling sick. You may feel particularly full after a meal. Sometimes food make the pain worse. Complication occurs in some cases and can be serious. These include the bleeding ulcer. This can range from a trickle to a life-threatening bleeding. And most of the people, they die if there is a continuous bleeding, oozing of the blood from the stomach lining, and they get the blood in the feces also. And sometimes what happens, there is a perforation of the intestine. This is the where the ulcer goes right through perforation, the wall of the first part of the small intestine, duodenum. Food and acids in the duodenum then leak into the abdominal cavity. This causes a severe pain and is a medical emergency because it leads to the peritonitis. And there is no treatment of peritonitis because once it happens, it's very difficult to treat with antibiotics. The tests we can done, gastroscopy, endoscopy is the test that can confirm a duodenal ulcer. Means you have to see through in the stomach and intestine. In this test, a doctor or nurse look inside your stomach and the first part of your small intestine, that is a duodenum. They do this by passing this thin, flexible telescope down your gullet or esophagus. They can see any inflammation or ulcer. A test to detect H. pylori is usually done if you have a duodenal ulcer. If H. pylori is found, then it is likely to be the cause of ulcer. Briefly, it can be detected in sample of the stools, feces, or in the breast brief test, or from a blood test, or from a biopsy sample taken during an endoscopy. See separate leaflet called the Helicobacter pylori and stomach pain for more detail. Complication. We have discussed about the complication, right? Now we talk about the constipation. Constipation occurs when a person has a difficulty emptying the large bowel. Home remedies and lifestyle changes can often help resolve it, but sometimes it may need medical attention. Because constipation is very dangerous thing that will lead to the hernia also. Because the intra-abdominal pressure will increase and feces will not come out from the rectum. So it increases the pressure and that will lead to the inguinal hernia. Such as a stool passes through the colon too slowly, the slower the food moves through the digestive tract, the more water the colon will absorb and the harder the feces will become. A person who poops fewer than 3 times per week may have a constipation. Sometimes constipation results from a blockage in the large intestine. In this case, a person will need urgent medical attention. At other time, it may simply be due to a lack of fiber or water. The main symptoms of constipations are difficulty passing stools, straining when passing stools, passes less stool than usual, lumpy, dry or hard stools. Other symptoms include pain and cramping in the abdomen, feeling bloated, nausea, loss of appetite. What does it mean if person has abdominal pain as well as constipation? Complication, constipation on its own can be uncomfortable, but it typically is not life-threatening. However, it can become a problem if it is symptom of a more serious underlying condition, such as a colorectal cancer. Means if it will continue constipation, that can lead to cancer of the colon, or it is start to cause further damage. There is a perforation of the large intestine. Damage that can arise as a result of the severe constipation includes rectal bleeding after straining. When you put a pressure, there is a bleeding. Anal fissures means there is a hole in the anus, which is a small tear around the anus. Symptomatic hemorrhoids, piles which are swollen, inflamed, blood vessels in the sinus. You can see there how much complications are there if there is somebody have a constipation continuous. Fecal impaction means there is a there is impaction, so there is no movement of there is no peristalsis. The fecal will stick like a stone in between, and that can lead to a septicemia, which occur when dry stools stagnate and collect in the rectum and anus, potentially leading to a mechanical obstruction. It's a mechanical obstruction. Other possible complications include the reduced quality of life and depression. Seeking medical advice for constipation may help prevent complication. Causes. The following are the common cause of the constipation: lack of fiber in the diet. People with a high intake of the dietary fiber are less likely to experience constipation. This is because fiber promotes regular bowel movement, especially when a person combines it with the proper hydration, means he is taking a water regularly, eight glasses in a day. High fiber food includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, lentils, chicken peas, and other legumes. Low fiber food includes high fat food, which we are taking nowadays, such as the cheese, meat, eggs, highly processed uh, foods, such as the white breads, fast foods, chips, and other junk foods and pre-made foods. Learn more about food that can prevent and treat constipation. Physical activity, low level of the physical activity, hold it lying in the bed. Now you are just sitting on the chair. May also lead to a constipation. Some past studies have found that physically fit people, including marathon runners, are less likely to experience constipation than other people, although the exact reason for this is unclear. A study from 2013 noted that increasing mobility might help improve constipation among older adults. People who spend several days or weeks in bed sitting in a chair may have a higher risk of constipation. Then we have got another problem of this uh, bowel. Irritable, we call it IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. IBS is a long-term gastrointestinal disorder that can cause persistent discomfort. However, most people will not experience severe complications. People also refer IBS as a spastic colitis, this inflammation of the colon. Mucus colitis, there is a mucus secretion from the large intestine, and nervous colon means the nerves are not working. It is chronic condition. However, its symptoms tend to change over the years. Symptoms often improve and